Who is Takuan Soho?
I'm heavy metal, that's all that I meant. Clutch, yeah, I be breaking the rim. You stuck, cause you ain't been getting it in. It's up, and I ain't gonna say it again.
He's a Zen monk, a calligrapher, a master painter, an artist, a jack of all trades, if you will. He's even said to be the inventor of the pickle. Now, a lot of people know Miyamoto Musashi, but this was supposed to be one of his closest friends and teacher to him. Now, in life, he was said to be very stern and in his ways, right? He believed in the way. As a matter of fact, he was known as an immovable object. His final words were actually, bury my body in the mountain behind the temple, cover it with dirt, and go home. That's wild. Read no sutras, hold no ceremonies. He said, let the monks wear their robes, eat their food, and carry on as if nothing has happened today. And at his final moment, he wrote the Chinese character for dream called Yume, put down the brush, and died. Talk about unbothered. All right, so this first section is called the affliction of abiding in ignorance. The term ignorance means the absence of enlightenment, which is to say delusion. Abiding place means the place where the mind stops. In the practice of Buddhism, there are said to be 52 stages. And within these 52 places, the place where the mind stops is called the abiding place. Abiding signifies stop, and stopping means the mind is being detained by some matter, which may be any matter at all. It may be any matter at all. In Buddhism, they call this stopping of the mind delusion, and thus the term the affliction of abiding in ignorance. I think in today's society, we have a lot of people that are characterized by this need to stay within their ignorance, right? It's almost taboo to want to learn about supernatural metaphysical things, right? It's not mainstream science. It's not the way of the world. And so people would rather just be comfortable knowing what they know and going on knowing what they know, remembering what they remember, and using what they have. There's no growth in any of that. It's the way of the world right now. Most people are very comfortable in their ignorance. Most people are very comfortable not learning every day. Most people are very comfortable with the knowledge they already have. Most people are comfortable getting up every day and doing and repeating the same habits and not changing, but wanting change to happen. That's what most people are comfortable with because they do abide in their ignorance. And so then in the next section of the book, we have what's called the immovable wisdom of all Buddhists. So here Takuan sums up, immovable meaning unmoving. But then he goes on to talk about wisdom itself. Wisdom means the wisdom of intelligence when he speaks of. And although wisdom is called immovable, it's not signifying any insentient thing like wood or stone or things that just don't move, a rock. You get what I'm saying? He talks about the loss of wisdom, right? Most people, when they have a grasp of something, they actually don't move wisely within that thing. They like to place their mind in a certain area about the task they're doing. So for example, when you first start to learn how to play a sport, let's say basketball, right? When you first try to shoot the ball, you're not thinking about your form. You're not thinking about, your action following through the shot. You're not thinking about any of those things. You just want to throw the ball up there and hope it goes in. And in a way, this is more wise than the person who starts to learn about the correctness, the motor mechanics of basketball, because now that person, they can no longer just play the sport. They can no longer just shoot the ball. They can no longer just get in tune with it and just do. They're thinking about their every action, right? Until you come to a point where you start to master the skills. And then all of a sudden, the mind no longer needs to think about the correct steps. It no longer needs to go over the steps over and over to figure it out. You know how to shoot the ball. You know how to pass the ball. You know how to catch. You know how to follow through. You know how to snap. So now the mind goes back to the previous state of not needing to think about it and just playing and enjoying the game. When the things you gain in intelligence start to become a part of your intellect, you start to move wisely within them. You go from a state of trying to figure it out and going through all these steps to learn the task. That takes away the enjoyment of being able to just do the task, to finally getting the task down. And then once you've mastered the task, the skills needed to do this task, then now you can do it again freely, unfettered by the mind. Every day in our lives, we are constantly plagued with thoughts of what should we be doing? How should we be doing it? How can I get there? What should I do here? What's the next step? And we rarely ever just do. We spend more time thinking about our next move, thinking about the habits, thinking about the actions, thinking about what we should do next, as opposed to just going out and do it. I've known people, when we all do, who will spend 10 years talking about the great business ideas they have, how this is their year, the come up is real, but they never made a move towards any of those things. They've never actually started to culminate any of their desires. They never started to build anything out of their desires or manifest their reality. They're always in the position of, I'm getting ready to, I'm preparing for this, I'm prepping, I'm gaining the materials to do, right? People who want to get things done, they simply do. They make ways to make things happen. They don't need to think through every task and every step. Now, don't get me wrong, planning is good. Having a plan and being prepared is a good thing. But planning to never actually do, over planning, is also a failure, right? Sometimes the best path is to fail and fail and fail and learn while going through your failures, right? Because at least you're getting something done. You're in motion, and object in motion stays in motion. Takuan, Soho is trying. He's simply trying to convey to the person listening that you have to release the mind from being placed on one certain task and object, one certain moment, right? You put the mind in the hand, and all of a sudden it stops the other functions of the body because you're only so focused on one part, right? You have to focus the mind out in 10 directions. There's 10 directions in Buddhism. You have to focus the mind out in all 10 directions at all times, because if you focus on one singular point, well, then the other 9 points aren't being met. They're just, mine's left, right, here, there. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. You're all over the place. And you're not gaining anything from that. You're not getting anything out of that. You're not even learning from the process.